Okay, here we are. This is Pop! OS in its default state. So we have our default Pop! OS background here. Then down here we have our dock. Inside the dock we do have some shared applications to the dock. So we have our search tool, workspaces tool, application menu, default browser, file manager, terminal, PopShop, which is our software center, and settings menu. This last item here is simple screen recorder. This does not come default installed. I did have to install this just so that way I could perform, well, screen walkthroughs like this. Up top here we have our panel, and on the left side we have workspaces. So if we select into that, we can see the open workspaces as well as any open applications. We have quick access to our applications menu as well right here. Date and time, and if we select in, we get access to the full calendar as well as any events associated. Moving over, we have the Windows settings, and we can turn on snap layouts, or what they refer to as the tile window feature. And for floating window exceptions, we can actually set a specific exception for any specific application. So if we have the window tiling feature turned on, this will keep that application from dropping into any window tiles. Shortcuts, we have a list of shortcuts that can be utilized within Pop! OS shown here. So we're going to close out of that. Come back in, we have show window titles. So let's just open this here real quick. And I'll kind of show that. So show window titles, we do see simple screen recorder at the top. We can disable that, or of course, enable. And then we also have show active hint. So if we enable this, we can actually see which window that we are currently clicked into. And just to show additionally here, let's open the file manager. And as we've opened the file manager, we can see it's selected. So this way we know which application we're clicked into. I'm going to turn on the tiling feature just to show that snap layout. And we can see these applications have jumped into their own tile. From here, we can review the active border radius, so that will either round out or straighten out the edges of these windows here. Active hint color, well, we can see the active hint color is highlighted around the window application. And last item is gaps. So if we select to increase this, we can actually increase the gaps around those applications. And decrease back to 2. Of course, if you do not want the tile windows feature, just disable, and there you go. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this, drop back this. This item here is just showing that I am recording with the simple screen recorder. And last but not least is our system tray. So in our system tray, here we go. We have our volume settings, microphone settings, display brightness settings, quick access for our network setup, Bluetooth setup, and our power options as well as battery state of charge. Quick access for lock screen rotation, so I'm using a 2-in-1 device and therefore I do have touchscreen as well as keyboard use. Quick access to our settings menu, the ability to do quick lock, so this will log out and lock the screen, and our power options here, so we can suspend, restart, power off, and log out. And that's going to be it for part 1. Okay, in this one, I just want to share how we can perform system and application updates. So first, we're going to come down here to the PopShop, launch that. This is the main or the home page. We'll come up here into the taskbar, if you will, and select the settings menu, and then updates and installed software. We can see here we're checking for updates, so we'll give this just a moment because it's going to check for both system and application updates. And there we go. We do see that we have some operating system updates here. And we can either do one of two things. We can just hit select update all. And of course, if we had a list of application updates as well, it would do both system and application at the same time. Or of course, you can just go into the system or the application list and then select update. So I'm just going to do update all. And we can see down here, installing updates. It's loading here. And we'll just let that go. And of course, sometimes once the updates are complete, you may have to perform a restart, and sometimes you do not. And there we go. Now it's going to check, and we are complete. So we can close out And that's how we can perform the application and system updates. That's it for this one. Okay, in this one, I want to review the system settings menu. So we're going to come down here to the dock, select settings, and we'll see the settings window open. So I'm going to double click up here, go full screen. And first tab is Wi-Fi. So here is where we can set up our network connection. The network tab is for our network configuration tools. Bluetooth, of course, is where we can connect and pair Bluetooth devices. Desktop tab allows us to customize the background, appearance, and even our dock. So let's move back. For notifications, we'll get a list view of the applications where we can either disable or enable notifications for those applications. In the Applications tab, we'll see the list of applications on the left-hand side, where we can configure additional settings for those applications individually. In Privacy tab, we'll have the ability to set our settings for connectivity, location services, Thunderbolt, file history and trash, as well as screen settings. Let's go back. We have Online Accounts tab. This is where, of course, we can connect our online accounts. For sharing, this is where we can enable or disable remote desktop, as well as allowing this device to be a media sharing device. For sound, we have our system volume here at the top, followed by our output for system speakers and input for microphone. Then we have the Power tab, where we can review the battery state of charge, power mode, and power saving options. In Display, this is where we can edit the resolution as well as refresh rate. For mouse and touchpad, well, of course, we have mouse settings here and touchpad settings here. Then we have our keyboard settings, our printers, where we can view, connect, and utilize printers on this device. Removable media, where we can set the settings for CD, DVD, music player, photos, and software. Wacom tablet, this is where we can set our settings for stylus and or tablet if we have those functions and features. Color settings, right here on laptop screen, we can select here, and if we would like to add additional profiles, we can do so here. Firmware, this is the up-to-date system firmware. Region and language, so of course if you want to change the language and or formats, you can do so here. Accessibility settings for vision, hearing, typing, as well as pointing and clicking. Users tab, this is where we can add and remove additional users for this device. Default applications, as we can see, we have web set to Firefox, mail client set to Firefox, calendar set to the default calendar, music and videos set to the videos application, and photos set to image viewer. So for any one of these, if we want to change or if we have the ability to change, we can click the drop down. And for instance, I've installed VLC Media Player, so I could flip that over to VLC Media Player. I'm going to leave that default for now for a later video. And we have date and time settings. So of course we have automatic date and time, but we have the ability to change the time zone as shown here. OS upgrade and recovery settings. Let's just let this load. And this is where we can upgrade the OS, but we are under the current version now, and as well where we can perform OS recovery for partitions. Support tab, this is where we can collect more information if we need to reach out to System 76 to get support for our system and device. In the About tab, I will review in the next video. So that's going to be it for this one. And there we go. Okay, in this video part, let's review the system specs as well as the system resource usage. So we're going to click into the system settings menu first. And from here, we're already in the About tab. However, if we were not, we would scroll down, select About, and we can see our device name, which is Pop! OS, hardware model, which is a Lenovo 300E Gen 2. This is a 2-in-1 device, so it does have touchscreen and keyboard. Then we have the processor, which is an Intel Celeron N4100 with 4 cores, shown here. Our graphics card, which is an Intel UHD Graphics 600, and our disk capacity is 128 gigabytes, and I am using an SSD. The OS name is Pop! OS 22.04 LTS, which is long-term support. OS type is 64-bit. We can see the GNOME version, which is our desktop environment, and the windowing system, which is X11. So we can go ahead and close out of here. Then we can either open our applications or we can even search for, such as Disk Usage Analyzer. We'll just grab that. And with all default applications, as well as the OS and the 2 additional applications I've installed, which is Simple Screen Recorder and VLC Media Player, we still have 104.3 gigabytes available out of our 128 gigabyte SSD drive. Next, we're going to open the system monitor, and we can review the CPU usage and memory. So right here, we can see we're throttling between, I saw about 44, maybe 45% here, all the way down to what looked about maybe 32 to 31% across these 4 cores. On memory, we're running at about 3.2 gigs out of our 8 gigabyte RAM, which is 39% roughly. And we can go ahead and close out of this. And also keep in mind, I am screen recording, so this is not at idle, but that's going to be it for this one. All right, in this video part, let's go ahead and customize our background as well as appearance. So we could right click, go directly to change background. And we notice that it opens up our system settings menu. We can double click, go full screen. And these are the default background images that we can change to. And we can review any one of these, select the one we want. Let's see, I kind of like this one. Reminds me of the Iron Giant. And for appearance, we can select in here. And of course, if we want the light mode, we can select back over to light mode. Or if we want to keep dark mode, just keep the dark mode, which I do prefer dark mode. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave it as is. And we can close out of this. And there we go. We can see our new Pop! OS background. And that's going to be it for this one. Okay, in this one, I want to share with you how we can customize our dock, which is here at the bottom. So we're going to select into System Settings, open up that menu. I'm going to double click, go full screen, select into the Desktop tab, and then from here we'll select Dock. And of course we have Dock enabled because, well, we can see it. As well, we have enabled Extend Dock to the edges of the screen, which I personally prefer. We have the Show Launcher icon on the dock. So if we actually look here to the left of this icon, we can actually see a small divider, and we can disable that if we prefer. As well, we can disable the workspaces and or applications icon just by selecting, and then we can enable. And then show mounted drives. So if we connect any external drives, they will appear here in the dock as well. Let's scroll down. We have dock visibility, which is always visible as it is now. We can do an always hide option. So if we select that, the dock will disappear, and to get it to pop back up, you'll have to actually come down, hover over, and then the dock will pop up. Or we can do intelligently hide, which I personally prefer, so you get a little bit more real estate with your window. And if we minimize this, it will reappear, as we can see. And open settings, it will drop back down. Moving down, we have the dock size. Let's do this so we can actually see the dock again. And we can change it to a small or a large format. Currently we're at medium, which is 48 pixels. I'm going to go small. Or we can even set a custom size here if we want it to be larger or smaller than the default options that are shown. Scrolling down, we can also change the position of the dock, which we can see right now it's currently on the bottom. We can also move to the left or even the right side. I prefer the bottom, so we're going to just leave the bottom as our option. For the icons, we can allow those to be centered, or we can have them over here at the start of our dock or even at the end of our dock. So we can see this jump over. Let's go back to center. And that's going to be it for the dock. Close this out. And that's it. All right, in this video, I want to share 2 things. One, how we can add a limited array of icons to our desktop, and as well pinning applications to our dock or dash. So we're going to right click here on the background, select desktop icon settings. Let's bring this up so we get our dash back or our dock back, and the size is already set for standard. So we can enable any one of these options here. This is why I said it's limited. So we can add the personal folder as well as the trash icon. And any external drives that we do connect to this device will also appear on the desktop background here. So we can enable this. By default, all icons will open on the left top center. Of course, we can change that position if we would like them to be in another location, but I'm good here. And just to show the different size options, we do have standard or large, as well as small, which are very tiny. I'm going to go back to standard and just click out of here. Now to pin applications to the dock, we're going to go ahead and open the app menu, and let's just right click on calendar, pin to dash, select back out. And of course, now we can see that icon for calendar right here. I can remove just by right clicking and remove from favorites. Now, if we want to have launchers or icon launchers for applications such as maybe our web browser or other tools in here on our desktop background, I will show you how to do that possibly towards the end of the video because it is a bit more involved rather than just coming in and doing a right click and add to desktop. So that's going to be it for this one. Okay, in this one, I'd like to review the applications that are either default installed or some that I've installed personally. And we're going to go ahead and kick open the app menu. Here at the bottom, we do have our folders. So library, home, office, system, utilities, and the ability to create new folder. Now, I'm just going to run through some of the highlights, if you will. I'm not going to review every single application. However, in library home, we do have access to things like our calculator, calendar, contacts, file manager, web browser, Geary, which is a lightweight mail client. Then of course, we also have our system settings, the simple screen recording tool, which I did personally install. This does not come default installed. Our terminal, text editor, and VLC media player, which as well, I did personally install the VLC media player. Up here, we do have quick access to PopShop, which is also on our dock. In the Office folder, we have LibreOffice, and with that, we do get Calc, which is our spreadsheet tool, Draw, which is kind of like a publisher, Impress, which is presentation software, Math, which is great for working with different mathematical equations, and Writer, which is our documents tool. In the system folder, we have our advanced network configuration tool, disk usage analyzer, disks, which gives us a breakdown of those disks, as well as a password vault, power statistics, and even system monitor. In utilities folder, let's drop that. We have our archive manager, document scanner. So if we need to scan files to this device, this is where we'd be able to view that. Our document viewer to read things like PDFs. And down here, we have our show workspaces, our search tool, our show applications, which is what we're currently in, a USB flasher, our image viewer tool, and our video player tool. And of course, if we wanted to create a new folder, we could do so here. And we could create this one just for tools, maybe. And in there, of course, we could drop any of these items into that new folder if we wish. So for instance, let's just grab like extensions, and we can just drag and drop directly into that tools folder. And as well, we could come over here to system, and let's do the same for maybe startup. No, we'll leave startup applications here. Office, library, home. Let's put Repo Man in there. And Repo Man is just a repo manager for our OS. And of course, Eddy is just where we can drag and drop to install some system applications. And that's going to be it for the application overview. Okay, in this one, I'd like to share how we can install new applications on our device. So we're going to come down here to the dock, select the PopShop. And if it opens up here, checking for updates, we can click the back home button. And here we are in the home view. So we do have some categories here shown. So accessories, audio, communication, development, education, finance, fun and games, and so much more. Or if we know what we're looking for, we can come up here to the search bar and just type in our application tool. I'm going to look for Ocular. Oh, not 2 R's, 1 R. There we go. I'm going to select this first option of Ocular, not Ocular Mobile. We're going to select this, and we can come up here to install and scroll down. We do get a few images to just see what the application might look like, as well a brief description shown here. So Ocular is a universal document viewer developed by KDE. Ocular works on multiple platforms, including but not limited to Linux, Windows, Mac OS, and BSD. The reason why I like this one is it works specifically with PDFs for me, and you can highlight and annotate within that PDF. So let's scroll back up. We can see it is done downloading, so we can just launch it from here. However, one last thing, if we scroll back down, what's new, we can actually view the most recent updates as well as previous updates for this application. All right, let's close out of this. And we're going to open the application menu. This should be an Office. However, I saw it here on the home view, so I'm going to drag and drop into Office. And now I have Ocular on this device as well. And while I'm here, another item I would like to use in here is Document Viewer. Let's put that in Office as well. Okay, close back out, and that's going to be it for this one. Okay, in this one, I would like to share a demonstration of some of our default applications for our viewers and playback tools, as well as some of the alternative applications we've installed. So let's start by opening our file manager here. And then we're going to go to our downloads folder, and we can just start with this image. I'll double click, and we can see this is opening up in our default image viewer tool. So we're going to close out of that. We have a Christmas music MP3, so I can double click here. And that's going to automatically start playing in our video tool, which is also a default application. Then we have a short MP4 video clip here. So I can just double click this. That opens up in our video default playback tool, but as we see, we get an error, so I'll just hit OK, close, and I'll come back over, right click, open with, VLC media player, and there we go. Now I can view our video. Hands down, this is why I like VLC media player the most. It can nearly play any audio or video format. And last but not least, we do have our PDF, so we can just double click here, and we can view our PDF, which is opened in our default document viewing tool. Or of course, we can right click, open with, Ocular, and go. And here we are. We can also view inside of Ocular. And that's going to be it. Okay, in this one, I would like to share how we can create a desktop icon or desktop launcher. And the way we're going to do that is I would like to do this one for the Firefox browser. So we're going to start by opening the terminal. And that's why I waited till the end to do this one. And first thing I want to know is which Firefox application I have installed. So I'm just going to type in which Firefox, enter, and we can see the path of USR bin Firefox. So I know this is a Debian or an apt package. And next thing I want to do is change directory to the desktop. And now that I'm here, I'm going to use a text editor, and we can use the terminal one, which is nano. And then we're going to name the Firefox.desktop file and enter to open. Now we need to add desktop entry. And then first line is going to be version, and we're going to put this as 1.0. Yep. Then we'll do the type, which will be application. Then the name, we'll give it Firefox browser. Ooh, there we go. Comment, this is what it's going to do. So it's going to launch the web browser. And then next we got to add the execution line. So we're going to recall that path, which is USR bin Firefox. And we'll add the icon, which is also just going to be Firefox, thankfully. And for terminal, we'll put false, and then categories will equal network web browser. Okay, then we can do Control O. We see the file name to write is Firefox desktop. We are good with that, so I'm gonna hit enter, and then Control X to get out. We see this icon here. However, we can't use it yet, so we need to make this executable. And to do that, we're going to do chmod, the plus sign, X, the actual file name, which is firefox.desktop. There we go. So we've made that executable. We still see that it's grayed out. That's okay. And actually here, we'll do clear and exit to close. Now we can right click on this and do allow launching. And there we go, our Firefox browser. And that's it for the desktop application. However, let's go ahead and rearrange these a bit. We'll put the trash can over here, our folder right here, and the Firefox browser there. And that's going to be it for this one.